There's something I've learned over the years watching people who completely transformed their financial lives. They didn't start by making grandiose or risky moves. They started by looking in the mirror with honesty and asking where their money is going. It's like that moment when you finally decide to step on the scale after months of avoiding it. It hurts a little, but it's liberating. The truth is that most people live on financial autopilot, spending without awareness, as if they were driving blindfolded. Think about it. You probably know how many followers you have on Instagram, but can you tell me how much you spent on delivery last month? This disconnect between what we know about our digital life and what we know about our financial life is exactly one of the problems that needs to be solved first. When you sit down and pull up your statements from the last 3 months, and I'm talking about all of them, bank account, credit card, that rideshare app you use every weekend, something interesting happens. It's almost like you're meeting a stranger, but that stranger is yourself. You're going to discover patterns you didn't even know existed. Maybe you spend $400 a month on coffee and quick snacks, or $300 on service subscriptions you barely use, that gym you swore you'd attend, the streaming service you watch once every 2 months. I remember doing this exercise for the first time and discovering I was spending nearly $600 a month on rideshare apps, simply because I was too lazy to walk 10 blocks. Categorizing these expenses into fixed, discretionary, and debts is like organizing a messy closet. At first it seems like work, but when you finish, you can finally see what you have. Now comes the part that separates those who just plan from those who actually change their lives. And I'm not talking about living like a monk or never going out to dinner again. I'm talking about being strategic and even surgical. Look at your expense list from largest to smallest and ask yourself if you can reduce it by 10 to 30% over the next 3 months. Sometimes the answer is simple. Calling your insurance company and comparing prices can save you $200 a month without changing absolutely anything in your life. Canceling 3 subscriptions you forgot you had can free up another $150. Deciding to walk or use public transportation instead of taking Uber all the time can put another $300 back in your pocket and represents an additional investment in your own health. Add all this up and you're looking at $650 extra per month, nearly $8,000 a year, money that can become an incredible trip, an investment that will grow, or the freedom to finally leave that job you hate. And most importantly, you're not depriving yourself of living, you're just being more intentional about where your money goes to work for you, and that naturally prepares you for the next step of the journey. Now that you know exactly where your money is going, it's time to do something that will seem almost magical. I'm talking about financial automation, and I can guarantee you this is one of the smartest decisions you'll make in your life. You know why? Because it completely removes the need for you to be disciplined every single day. Think about it. How many times have you promised yourself you'd start saving money next month? But when the paycheck hit your account, suddenly that dinner with friends appeared, that irresistible online promotion, and at the end of the month you looked at the balance and thought, next month I'll start? This happens because we're trying to fight against our own human nature, which will always prefer immediate gratification. Automation solves this in a brilliant way. It takes the money out of your account before you even have a chance to spend it. It's like when you receive your salary and the income tax or health plan contribution is already deducted. You don't even miss that money because it never went through your hands, right? Apply that same logic to your financial goals. Open an investment account and set up automatic transfers to happen on the same day you get paid. You can start small, about 5% or 10% of what you earn. The important thing is to create the habit. I started doing this a few years ago, and I can tell you it was transformative. At first, I only transferred a portion automatically per month, and you know what happened? I simply forgot that money existed. My brain adjusted to the new amount available in the checking account, and I continued living normally. And here's an inconvenient truth that nobody likes to admit. Life will test you. Your car will break down, your computer will crash, you'll have a medical emergency. Something will happen that will require quick cash. It's practically a law of financial physics. The question isn't if it will happen, but when. That's why having at least a portion saved as an emergency fund isn't a luxury. It's a basic necessity for financial survival. More than half of Americans can't cover a $1,000 emergency, and you know what happens to them when life decides to collect. They go to the credit card, pay absurd interest rates, and enter a debt spiral that can take years to escape. You don't want to be that person. So take that money you saved by cutting unnecessary expenses, Sell those old electronics gathering dust. Do something extra on the weekend if you need to. When you cross that mark and see some digits in your emergency account, something changes inside you. You feel a security that money can't buy, ironically. And with this solid foundation built, you're ready to start making your money really work. This is where the magic really starts to happen, because now you're no longer just keeping money under the digital mattress. You're going to put that money to work for you while you sleep, while you watch Netflix, while you're living your life. And look, I know the word invest can sound intimidating to many people, as if it were something for rich Wall Street folks wearing expensive suits. But the truth is much simpler and more democratic than it seems. Over the last 100 years, stocks have delivered the best returns compared to any other type of investment: gold, real estate, government bonds, everything. We're talking about an average of 9% to 11% per year in the long term. Let me put this in perspective. If you invest just $1,000 a month for 30 years with these returns, you'll end up with almost $1.5 million. That's right, $1.5 million. Not because you're a financial genius, but simply because you were consistent and let time do the heavy lifting. The smartest way to start is by investing in S&P 500 index funds, which basically give you a piece of the 500 largest American companies all at once. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, all of them. You don't need to keep trying to guess which company will go up or down. You simply buy the entire index and go along with the growth of the American economy as a whole. I opened my first investment account at a brokerage a few years ago and set up automatic monthly transfers. I don't keep looking at whether the stock market went up or down today. I don't keep reading news trying to predict the future. I simply stay the course. There are months when the market drops 10% and I keep buying. There are months when it rises 15% and I keep buying. You know why? Because in the long run, none of that matters as much as consistency. It's like planting a tree. You don't keep digging up the seed every day to see if it's growing. You water it regularly and trust the process. But here's something many people forget, and this is crucial. You can save and invest as much as you want, but there's a limit to how much you can cut from expenses. Eventually, you reach a point where you can't tighten the belt anymore. However, there's no limit at all to how much you can earn. So while you're building this habit of investing, you also need to be thinking about how to increase your income. When was the last time you asked for a raise? If it's been more than a year, you need to have that conversation with your boss yesterday. Inflation is eating away at your purchasing power every year, so staying at the same salary is actually receiving less each year that passes. Research how much people in your position are earning in the market, prepare your arguments, show your value, and ask. The worst that can happen is a no, and then at least you know where you stand. Or consider changing jobs every 2 or 3 years, because studies show that those who do this can increase their salary between 20% and 30% with each switch. Also, think about starting a side income, selling things you don't use anymore, freelancing in your spare time, dog walking, anything that gives you a few extra dollars a month. Because when you combine cutting expenses, consistent investments, and increasing income, you create a wealth-building machine that's practically unstoppable, and that's what will take you to the next level. Let's talk about a financial tool that's like fire. It can warm you up and cook your food, or it can burn your entire house to the ground. I'm talking about credit cards. The truth is that credit cards are a giant double-edged sword, and you need to know yourself very well before deciding whether to use this tool or not. If you have self-control, if you can see that available credit limit and not feel an uncontrollable itch to spend, then credit cards can be your best friends. You run all your expenses through it, pay everything at the end of the month without paying a cent in interest, and still get cashback, miles, airport lounge access, hotel upgrades. It's literally free money that credit card companies give you, money they take from people without discipline. But if you're honest with yourself and know you have a tendency to spend more than you should, if that $5,000 limit seems like an invitation to buy things you don't need, then stay away from credit cards. Because paying 21% interest per year on card debt is one of the worst financial decisions you can make. Now, regardless of using a card or not, there's a metric you need to start tracking as if your life depended on it, and in a way it does. I'm talking about your net worth. It's simply adding up everything you have of value, your bank account, your investments, your car, your house if you have one, and subtracting everything you owe: loans, financing, debts. The number that remains is your net worth, and this is the metric that really matters when you want to know if you're getting richer or poorer. You could be earning $10,000 a month, but if you're spending $12,000 and accumulating debt, your net worth is decreasing and you're getting poorer. There are months when you earn less but saved more and invested well, so your net worth goes up. There are months when you earn more but spent too much and it stays flat or even drops a little. This number doesn't lie. And here's the cherry on top. After doing all this for 3 months, you need to look ahead and dream big. I'm not talking about small goals like save $500 next month. I'm talking about goals that get you out of bed in the morning with fire in your eyes. Where do you want to be a year from now? Maybe with $10,000 saved. Where do you want to be in 5 years? Maybe buying your first house, maybe with $100,000 in net worth, maybe quitting your job to start your own business. And in 10 years? Who knows, financially independent, traveling the world, working because you want to and not because you have to. Write down these goals, don't just think about them. Studies show that people who write down their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them than those who just think about them. Then, divide these big goals into smaller, actionable pieces. If you want $60,000 saved in 5 years, that means saving about $1,000 a month. Does it seem impossible? Maybe it is now, but it won't be 6 months from now when you've increased your income, optimized your expenses, and created automatic systems. And the last thing, mark on your calendar right now to review your finances every 3 months. Last day of March, June, September, December. On these days you'll sit down, pull all the numbers, see how far you've come, adjust what's not working, and celebrate the wins. Because this journey has no finish line, it's a lifestyle, and the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you'll start to see your life really change. Look, I need to tell you something before we wrap up here. I believe in you. I truly believe in you. And this isn't that empty belief we hear out there. It's a belief based on something very real, on the fact that you made it this far, read all of this, absorbed this knowledge. That already puts you ahead of 90% of people who simply let life happen to them. Each of us is fighting our own battles, facing our own challenges, carrying our own weights. I know that. Maybe you're starting from zero, maybe you're drowning in debt, maybe you're feeling trapped in a job you hate. And that's okay. Because the most beautiful truth about life is that it doesn't matter where you are now. What matters is the direction you choose to follow from this moment forward. You have unique abilities, talents that nobody else has in the same way you do. And I know that sometimes it's hard to see that, especially when we're overwhelmed by bills, by stress, by the routine that seems endless. But those abilities are there, waiting to be used to their fullest. Not just for you to build the life you've always dreamed of, but for something even bigger. Because when you improve your own life, when you conquer your financial freedom, when you finally breathe easy knowing you're in control, you're not just changing your story. You're creating a domino effect that will touch the lives of everyone around you. Your children will learn by example. Your friends will be inspired. People you don't even know will look at you and think, if he did it, I can too. But here's a truth you need to understand deeply. This video you just watched is only the beginning. Financial education isn't a destination. It's a continuous journey. The world changes, the economy changes, new opportunities emerge, and if you stop learning, you fall behind. The most successful people I know have one thing in common. They never stop studying, never stop seeking knowledge, never stop evolving. So I want to ask you an honest question. Are you willing to continue this learning journey? Because if you are, consider the possibility of us taking this walk together. That's why I invite you to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. I really want to accompany you in this transformation. Every week I'll try to bring new content about wealth building, investments, financial mindset, strategies that work in the real world. And the more you absorb, the more tools you have to build the life you deserve. And that's what moves me, the idea that each person who takes control of their finances, who invests in themselves, who refuses to accept an ordinary life, is actually contributing to a better world. Because we can't help anyone when we're drowning. But when we're solid, when we have structure, then we can extend our hand and pull other people up. So go ahead, apply everything you learned here. Make mistakes, learn, adjust, continue. Keep studying, keep evolving, keep watching the other videos here on the channel to expand your understanding of money and wealth even further. And when you get there, when you look back and see how far you've come, remember to help someone start that same journey. Because at the end of the day, we're not here just to accumulate money. We're here to realize our full potential and inspire others to do the same. And I know, deep down in my heart, that you have everything you need to make this happen. Now just get started.